Let's go back to the time of the NES when every video game publisher looked to make a quick buck by gobbling up Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supremes and brewing up steaming piles of crap that they called movie-based games. And while digging through the cesspool of truly awful games based on our favorite movies, you're able to immediately identify games that developers actually put effort into making. And among these games was Batman, which was developed by Sunsoft after the 1989 Tim Burton movie featuring Michael Keaton as the Caped Crusader and Jack Nicholson as Joker. So was Batman for the NES just another shovelware, or did it stand out as one of the greats? Let's revisit the game and take a closer look. As always, first let's take a look at the game's story. Now like I said, it's supposedly based off the 1989 Batman movie, but honestly this could be pretty much any other Batman game because the only reason why I knew the game was based off the movie is due to the numerous cutscenes that appear from time to time. And these cutscenes are extremely random, and were basically thrown in just to periodically remind you that the movie existed. And nothing about the gameplay itself or the story resembles what happened in the movie. What's even weirder is that some of the cutscenes don't even seem to be based on the movie. Like, some of them have different versions of the Joker. For example, this one is clearly Jack Nicholson, but this one is definitely not him. Did the developers have to pay Jack for each picture and just run out of money at the end? Now, if you've seen my other reviews, you've seen that I do a lot of complaining about how retro games based on movies almost always feel like the developers completely forgot that they were supposed to base the game off the movie itself and just threw in a cutscene or picture at the end. Well, this sort of feels like that too. Like, yes, it's a Batman game and it has elements from the movie itself, but it also contains a lot of characters that aren't really part of the Batman universe at all, and involves a lot of action that never appeared in the film, like these Green Goblin things, or basically any of these bosses. And to be absolutely honest, I'm not really sure what the game's story is even about. You're basically just running through different levels, whether it's on Gotham streets or sewers, or somewhere that resembles those two, and then fighting through waves of enemies with guns, flamethrowers, and I'm not even sure what these remote control cars or these frogmen are. But at the end of each level, you face a boss, which could be this jumping guy, or this turret system? Like what? And then eventually, you make your way up a clock tower and face off against the Joker himself, which then leads to the most egregious example of how this game doesn't stick to what happened in the movie, or worse, it doesn't even stick to the entire story of Batman in general. And yes, I'm talking about the game's ending. Spoiler alert, but Batman actually straight up kills Joker, like throws him off the roof like Mufasa, straight up murked him despite Batman's famous no-kill policy. Like, do you remember the whole deal from the Arkham series where you can hit enemies with brutal combos to just knock them out and never kill them? Yeah, that's who Batman is. He knocks people out or ties them up so that the cops can do the rest. And do you remember how in The Dark Knight, Batman resists every urge in his body to not kill Joker at the end? That's Batman. Also, the game is pretty randomly gruesome because the last scene is just Joker's lifeless face just staring blankly into the Gotham sky. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the story. It's essentially just a game about Batman, and you do Batman-y things, plus kill people, I guess. Alright, and with that, let's talk more about the gameplay. First of all, this game is extremely difficult, but not in a broken sort of way, but difficult in the sense that it's doable if you take the time to master the controls, which I should say are extremely responsible and crisp. I should also mention that this game is generous by giving you unlimited continues, which was a rarity in the NES era, and man will you need it. Now, going back to talking about the controls, the jumping mechanics are also some of the best on the NES itself. Jumping from wall to wall and climbing large structures is pretty entertaining. It's probably the first game ever where you feel like you're parkouring up buildings. Also, shockingly, there are two different jumps that you can do by pressing the same button. In addition to his normal jump, you can do a Batman jump, which is twice as high, by pressing down on the button rather than tapping it. That's a very nice touch. And you really want to master these jumps because the game is just a series of patterns. Every enemy, every wall jump, and every boss fight has a pattern and rhythm to it. For example, this is the boss for level 5, and once you've learned the pattern behind his moves, It's almost comically broken in how easy it is. Like, I'm actually not sure if this is what the developers intended or if this is just a glitch. But either way, the more you play, the better you get at maneuvering throughout the levels and dodging enemies' attacks. By the end, you'll feel like you've really mastered controlling the Caped Crusader. Heck, you could even say that you are Batman. Batman also has a number of tools at his disposal, which includes his Batarang and his spear gun. However, I should say that the one minor downside is that you start off with all of these weapons already at your disposal, so while it's cool to be able to check them out from the get-go, you lose that sense of character progression or the feeling that you're building towards something or earning new rewards. Like, don't you think it would have been so cool to be able to pick up some of these gadgets the further along you got into the game? But I guess because it's such a short game, there wasn't really the time for progression in the first place. Yes, the game's fairly short, and you can blow through all 5 or 6 levels from between 30 minutes to an hour. Also, the graphics are absolutely beautiful for an NES game. The characters and backgrounds are full of detail, and I love the dark tone throughout the game, which truly captured the dangerous and mysterious and kind of grimy atmosphere of Gotham City, especially the one portrayed in the Tim Burton movie. The character animations are also extremely fluid. You can even see Batman's cape fluttering as you run, which was a very nice touch. It's clear that this game was designed by true Batman fans. Also, I really appreciated the music throughout the game as well. Although it doesn't resemble anything I remember from the movie, it captured the Batman tone and atmosphere pretty well. So, all in all, Batman for the NES is probably one of the first great movie-based games. Yeah, while it did have the problem that was pervasive with games during the era, which is that they don't really stay faithful to what happened in the movies, this was still a fantastic Batman game that I enjoyed playing. So I can wholeheartedly say that this is not shovelware, and it's a game totally worth checking out even today. Well, make sure to let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, because I would love to hear what you all thought about it. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.